So I was just about to get ready to go to bed actually, but I just thought I would add another video to the one I've just literally done 20, 30 minutes ago. Um, I was just thinking, right, if you put yourself in the Manchester United squad, right, and you were picked to play in the either number 6 or the number 8 position, right? And knowing who you've got around you in the current setup right now. So let's say, for instance, you're either in Ugarte's position or you're in Bruno's position. So you're in the game, and the opposition, let's say it is Liverpool, they're coming up in a few weeks' time, the game after Sunderland. And you've had Lamens, who hopefully will start this Saturday, so it'll be his third game. And how will that actually go if you're playing in that position? Okay, and think about the kind of expectations that are on the shoulders of Ruben Amorim on the sidelines, coaching staff, the sort of tense, sort of anxiousness on the bench in particular as well. So a lot of which are not even getting much in the way of game time. Kobe Mainu for one, which again, you feel if he doesn't start this Saturday, he's not really going to be playing much at all. The whistle goes, game's underway. Let's say you're Bruno, for instance, okay, who is a number 10 playing in out of position. What do? Your natural instincts are to play as a number 10. Yes, you've been asked to be disciplined in a role that is not suited to you. He's not physical enough, robust enough, and the player that's behind him is Ugarte. So imagine you're Bruno and you've got Ugarte behind you, or if you're Ugarte and you've got Bruno in front of you. How do you think the midfield battle is going to play out, not just for Brentford on Saturday, or the newly promoted Sunderland the game after, and obviously Liverpool, who are probably favourites to win the Premier League? In my opinion, I think every possible combination of midfield players we can put out in those areas are going to come undone. I think we're just going to be outfought, outmaneuvered every time. And I think when we talk about the system with Ruben Amorim right now, which is quite clearly not going to change, I do wonder whether there is going to be slight sort of tweaks here and there, though, because you've got to think, in order for us to get anywhere in getting up that league table, you need a goalkeeper who's going to be dependable, and you need a strong defence that can protect him. You need a forward line that's going to be interchanging with each other, being creative, getting enough shots on target to work the goalkeeper. And I believe when I last looked and certainly heard that we are one of those teams that has more shots at goal than any other team in the league. But in terms of ratio for shots on target, is certainly not very high at all. So what I'm trying to say is, in a roundabout way, not suggesting it being a long ball game, but I think this playing out for the back business has really got to have a point where we're bypassing the midfield. So you can imagine if Lamens or Bandier is in goal, lays the ball out, back three, and it's looking down the channels, left or right, interchange in the final third. If Bruno is the furthest, then he comes into play, and then you've got Dorgu, Cunha, Mbumo, and Sesko. Where possible, we have got to try and bypass through the middle, because that's where the problems are going to arise. That's on the attacking sense, in my opinion. When we're up against it, in terms of actually on the onslaught for the opposition that's coming at pace, which they are going to play to their strengths naturally, but with every opposition knows that the midfield for us is just not good enough at all. that's where they're going to come through and try to get through that way a lot more so, because the joy of going through the midfield and bypassing. I mean, the stat I heard not long ago is Ugarte gets dribbled past 2 or 3 times in a game. So that straight away tells you that that's where the weaknesses are for that. Obviously, with Bruno doing what he does, trying to do the job of two, he's going to get bypassed a lot as well. The thing being, when we do have to endure pressure from the opposition, is to squeeze everyone together. And it kind of feels for me that it's making the areas in the midfield to be narrow. So, of course, when we lose the ball, my expectation for me, if Amorim wants to play the way he's going to be playing, is having Mbumo and Cunha to pull in, literally pull in, like they're kind of almost like secondary wing backs to a point, to try and make it as rigid as possible in that sense. Or even by saying, depending which way down the lines that the attack is coming, whether it's left or right, is to move the players along a bit. So, of course, if it's coming down the our right column, then the left wing back needs to come in and suppress that area. And the same likewise if it's Mazraoui or Ahmed on the opposite side, to try and make it as compact as possible. When I watched the Chelsea game, and I don't know if anybody picked it up on that, and I didn't pick it up straight away. I did kind of watch just quite a lot of the highlights back. When we had they were down to 10 men after 4 minutes when their goalkeeper got sent off. We still struggled. Yes, we had a little bit more possession than they did, but in terms of the pass and move and triangles and everything else, Chelsea was still doing that to us. They were still getting around. It was only because our rear guard was strong enough to be able to withstand their attacks. They kept going from side to side around the channels and all this sort of business. So it didn't actually create that much. They really didn't. When it went down to 10v10, exactly the same again. This time, we couldn't even get the ball off them. We stood firm and managed to eat out the win. The reason I'm going down this road, and I know it's going to be different because we'll be playing away from home, we've got no Casemiro, we don't know what's going to happen in the midfield areas. My guess is it's going to be Ugarte and Bruno again. I can't see Mainu playing. He's certainly not going to be playing alongside Bruno. You're not going to have two natural number 10s playing in the central midfield area. It's just not going to happen. I don't see it. Even though I would say that Ugarte is a player who has shown promise and is certainly not flourishing at the moment, and because he is our only other central defensive midfielder, he's going to play. And you can't see Mainu playing there because Bruno's going to play. He's not going to move Bruno to number 10 because you've got to leave out Cunha, Mbumo, or indeed Sesko as well. So this is going back to my point at the start of this video. Every midfield combination we've got, even when Casemiro is back, we're going to suffer. We're going to lose that midfield battle. And that's where all the games are won and lost, in my opinion. That is it. Roy Keane talks about it an awful lot as well. You need to have a solid spine as well. But in that midfield area, the engine room, you really need to be compact. You need to put your shift in, come off the pitch absolutely knackered. I never really see that in the games I've seen. Certainly for this season and the last couple of seasons, really. Players do put the hard work in, the hard yards and all of that. But in terms of leaders on the pitch, there's not many of those there as well. And would we, be better without Bruno in the side? You can argue that to a point, of course, but if he is actually going to play as a 10 and one of the others falls out, then yeah, that's the only reason I would play him. And at this stage, I just don't think he should be playing. For all the good things he does do, It doesn't work in this system. And I think the thing we have to think about as well is that I believe that United thought that he was going to be going to Saudi, and that's why it transpired that Cunha was going to, the business for Cunha was done very, very quickly. Now, whether that coincided with this idea that Bruno was going to go, not sure. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But the long and short of it now is we're absolutely overladen with tens now. And, Joshua Xerxes never gets mentioned, does he? So whether, of course, we haven't got many games to play this season. It's just the Premier League with the FA Cup that when we get to that in January time. And I think that, to be honest, is our best bet of getting back into European football. I calculated, must be about 4 or 5 days ago now, going through the fixtures. Yes, I know it's on paper and it is as the squad as it is now. But to me, it just felt like we're not going to get anything more than between 52 and 55 points, which will probably keep us in around 13th place. It's going to be a nothing season. And by the time we get to the January transfer window, our season could be all but gone by then. And in fact, when I was doing the calculations, I should have made a marker of where we might be in January. And I would not be surprised if we're not hovering around the 30-point mark at that stage. I can't see us getting anything against Brentford. Yes, we should beat Sunderland at home, but then we're not going to beat Liverpool either. And the games are coming thick and fast. The tests are there. We struggled to beat Burnley at home. It just beggars belief, really. When I was looking through the fixtures, there was none there that I thought, that's a banker. We're going to win that. And it's extraordinary to think that we have a manager that believes the way he wants to play. We don't have the right type of players to be able to do that. And for now, surely it's all about getting points on the board, and you play to the strengths with the players you have currently. So what I'm trying to say is that surely any manager worth his weight in gold would realise that and would play to the strengths and park his system for now. Maybe not totally, but with a view to coming back once the players that he wants, in January/summer next year, when he's been here for that, good length of time, if he indeed is, and that's when it changes. Because at the moment, I think we're looking at around 75% there. We don't know how good Lamens is going to be, but he's tearing it up in training, which is a good sign. But when you don't have the central midfield sorted, that's where we're going to lose a lot of games through that. And I would lay a bet on that. That's going to happen on Saturday. I know Brentford, after a few games, are sitting, fourth from bottom and what have you. But they are certainly a side that won't have any fear playing us, and that's the rest of the entire league is going to be exactly the same. So I do worry where we're gonna get definite points from, and I think the worst is yet to come. This is the problem, isn't it? So the only way I can see us getting anywhere is trying to bypass the midfield, going forward, bypass them. When it comes back, squeeze in, make it very difficult as much as possible, because I can just see that we're just going to be losing. I'll be very surprised if we get to the end of the season and we haven't lost at least 15 games. I think it's that bad. Anyway, it's high time I went to bed. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are, if you've got any at all. If you can leave them down below, tell me what you think. Maybe I'm talking an absolute load of nonsense. It won't be the first time that happens. But yeah, if you can, that'd be wonderful. If you like the video as well, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys to sometime tomorrow. Peace out. Good night.